Hello for those who are watching the recording. Today we are doing the Ballerina from Edgar Degas. We're going to do it in watercolors. But first, of course, we're going to start with a pencil sketch. And the thing we start any drawing, any painting, of course, is composition. So we need to plan according to our paper size, or if you have canvas, how it's going to look. And here pretty much very interesting, cool composition. So diagonal line. Yeah, diagonal line in general is very strong thing that many artists use. And here the guy is kind of, leads our view. Yeah, from one hand, we get to the girl, the other hand, so very beautiful. So let's start. The easy way how to kind of compone the girl here is start telling yourself, okay, what are the edge points? And so we can mark the foot. It's kind of, so like just a little line. And we see it's not really in the middle. It's a little bit like to the left side. But it's also, we can decide like if we want this corner here, maybe we just avoid it. All right, then we can go a little bit up. So just to feel the, and really not worrying about yet about the how perfect is the leg. And now we can do the circle, the circle of the dress. It's gonna be good help for us to do the rest. And here we see, here the circle goes kind of almost till the end of the page. And here, so it's not really perfect circle. Here it kind of goes a bit more, So we play now by finding this shape of the dress we're gonna have. Then we think we want it a bit bigger. So no rush, just, and then of course, like with the circle now I can see, the head actually is gonna be just with the line of the circle. I think it's also actually one of the tricks, because if you follow the line of the skirt, it matches the head. So it's the same, like the line brings your eye to some point. Okay, and since we have the circle, Florence, if you need more time in any moment, you tell me and I repeat something or I wait.
Okay.
So, Okay, we mark the head. Again, so for example, first you do it just by the feeling. So I did it by the feeling. Now maybe it's too small. So this is why it's important not to do any details yet, not to draw eyes. All I did just the shape of the hair and approximately the shape of the face, But still already I feel it's gonna be maybe a bit too small. So this is something you also practice the proportions. So you create them first by the feeling, but then you go also checking. And then with time, each time you're gonna get more close to the matching it once. Okay, I continue with shoulders. And all I see, for example, okay, this shoulder, where it's coming from? It's coming from somewhere where the lips gonna be. So a bit like above the edge of the face. Cool. I see, where is the other shoulder is coming from? Here is the neck, more or less. And so I observe it all just as lines and angles. And then I try and I check and I try to do the hand. The most important thing in hand is to spot well the elbow. So not to make it too short. I would say even making a bit longer is better than making shorter. Yeah? But still, I try kind of here. I suppose this is the elbow, and I try to say, so this distance between elbow and let's say the start of the hand, or connecting it a bit with dress. So I try to find some connections that gonna help me spot the. Yeah. And definitely not doing any fingers yet. And in general, I don't think we're gonna really draw them. Yeah, so with such small things, it's always better to leave them undone, unspoken. Will always look better, your drawing, your painting, rather than trying to fit in little fingers. And cool, more or less one hand. Yeah, be brave, put it longer. And then we can come back and we do the body part. Here the dress is helping us. So we see we can use the lines. And here again, I'm just observing the upper part as a shape. So here from the neck, the part of the breast, and what shape it takes. Like, and then I compare. So is it like wide the same? Is it more flat or thin? Yeah, so if you start looking at all objects just as geometry, yeah, it will help you to do more precise proportions. Yeah, there are also some exercises where you draw things you put on purpose upside down, and then you try to draw a horse, yeah, or a person, anything that is upside down. So it makes you draw just the lines, diagonals, angles, dots. Yeah. Okay, we do the hand again. What we can say? Here the wrist is kind of going where the dress is ending. Nice. Yeah. So I'm using this moment. Then I say, okay, where then the elbow? Remember, the elbow is important. Yeah. Even if when you're doing the sketches of people, and it can be very just draw a few lines, you really need to sit like the dot, the part of the elbow. Cool. Okay, more or less, I would say the body part, we can improve a bit the leg. It also has like interesting, bit like curvy, goes from out, inside. We can definitely put the shadow, not to forget about it. So we have shadow from feet here, also on the dress a bit. But this, of course, what else we can maybe mark? We have a floor, like some line, like just checking what other interesting things. The rest there is like similar color, but just spots. So to say, there are other ballerinas with the same dress, but maybe somewhere here could be this, let's say, okay, here it makes, yeah, so here I made a diagonal and here I made a straight line, so a bit have the space. Nice. If you want, you can mark a bit the face. So it would be like marking eyebrows. But basically here it's very nice. Also, we can spot just the shadow of the face. So basically what we need to do, we need to mark this light part, light side of the face, and we see a bit of the light on the nose. So if we place those spots correctly, the rest we can just mark a bit dark, like for the eyes and for lips, nose, yeah. And then it already will make our some but still, of course, for example, if you do the face and you feel no, it's like looking not the way I want, it's always better just to lighten up with the razor. And as I say, just to leave it half unspoken. The viewer will do the job, will understand, will I'm also not fighting a bit with the face, but definitely just the general feeling of the movement, the dress will be more important. Cool. So we're gonna move to watercolors. What's definitely good to do before is to lighten up the drawing. Yeah, especially if you have a bit stronger line where the skirt goes. Yeah, so not really erasing completely. Of course, you still need to see where the thing is, but we're lighting up so it's not so strong. And especially, for example, if you see the part is going to be dark, yeah, for example, this side of the leg, it's in the shadow, maybe it's not that important because you're going to be put some dark spot there. But always when you know it's going to be light parts there. So for example, if I'm painting sunset, I just don't even go with the circle where the sun is going to be. Yeah, because it's just going to make it, the line will influence the paint. It always looks more cleaner, lighter. And especially because that's what watercolors are about. Lighten up a bit. Although we can notice the guy, he liked kind of doing a bit of outline. Yeah, so he was painting a lot also with oil paints when he was there in the ballet studio observing girls painting them. So, and then with just with the line, yeah, of oil charcoal, he was creating them some darker lines like accents. Yeah, we're gonna try this as well. Maybe one more thing also just to mark prior. There are also very nice shadows on the part, yeah, of the neck, so we can mark them as well. Because once we're with the colors, it's harder to think about already shapes, proportions. So it's better to mark them now. Yeah, so then if we need, we also correct them a bit, erase. Yeah. And, yeah, so definitely it's going to be here, the shadow. I'm going to show also closer now. I'm going to mark on my paper. And I'm going to show a bit closer. Yeah, so this will be with the shadow. Yeah, you don't have to color it with pencil. I'm just doing it now, so. Yeah, so I did like this basic part. So definitely the shadow under the head. And then we have this shadow above and shoulder. The breast part also gonna have, it's already gonna be a bit white. Yeah, there are also some shadows. I mean, you can mark on the hands, but I think we can do the fine just with the straight with the brush. Cool. Be sure to clean well all eraser leftovers. You can do with a clean brush. You can blow. You can just, clean all well. Because once there is water, no way back. Huh? Okay, now comes the question, where should we start? Like there is no, rule where you must start. It's always really kind of up to you. Still in watercolors, the general way how you work is from light to dark. Yeah, just because watercolors is something where you don't use much layers. Yeah, because some things should stay like white or almost with one layer, very clean. Yeah? And some things that dark, we can put more layers to make it more intense. Because in watercolors there is no white. White is paper. So okay, let's check the brushes. So I would say we will gonna try to mix now the base color for the skin. Yeah, and we're gonna put this one, we're gonna let it dry, and then we're gonna build some shadows on top. So the skin color, yeah, pretty much always tricky. Here especially the light part, it looks like almost white. So maybe also.
Sorry, I don't have any round brushes.
You have only flat ones.
I have flat. Oh wait, I have a filbert.
That's no problem. We can. So I can also explain. So, for example, when I work with watercolors, I prefer the pointy brushes, and these flat ones I usually go with acrylics, gouache. But why not?
So wait, I have this one.
Oh, this one is good. Yeah. Yeah.
And I have these.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely keep them next to. So let's, I'll say again how you choose the brushes. So generally, you choose by the size what you're gonna paint. So for example, of course, if I'm going for the background, I might take a bigger brush, just easier. Of course, when I'm going to be trying to do some little lines, little shadows, then I take a smaller brush. So basically by the size. Why those pointy are kind of a bit considered to be more watercolor ones, just because it's easier to fill in the water and they kind of having the water in. Yeah, and since watercolors is all about making it flow, but actually, like, you can work with any brush and just experiment when you feel comfortable. And the more you're gonna paint, you're gonna start having brushes that, your favorites, you already know what I can do with this or other, But at the moment, use the ones you have and basically just choose by the size. So if you have even a flat one, you say, okay, this size is comfortable, I take this. Okay, now I need to do the tiny things, I take a smaller one. Cool. Okay, maybe some other thing, just to a little advice for watercolor So, for example, here I have my set of watercolors, and here I have the paper I did long time ago and keeps on being part of the set. Because you can see that, for example, here a big part of just dark colors. Yeah, and he was like, wow, what's I'm not sure if what kind of blue is this one? Is it blue? Is it green? And so that's why in here I have, this one actually is purple, this greenish, this dark. And something so very useful to have to do this exercise with your particular paints, yeah, because each paints are different. And here also I did them like with more water and less water. Yeah, so then you also know how this color looks with more intense and more transparent. Yeah, so just a thing that can be your homework. And it also makes you learn more about your paints. Yeah. Cool. So another maybe like a bit also thing for about theory of watercolors, it's the paper. And generally, the paper is the most important in watercolors. You can save your money on brushes. You can have medium expensive watercolors, but the paper is essential. And what I often see, and it's logical, people, they start when they learn. Of course, you buy maybe cheaper paper. You think, okay, when I learn, when I already better, then I get more expensive paper. But what happens with the bad paper, you have bad results, especially in watercolors. Acrylic is not that noticeable. So what's the thing with watercolors? You just look for the number that is higher. Yeah. So I'm gonna show you. So when you go for, okay, this is the example of acrylic paper, but all of them have the same. So you need always to look for the number here. And here it's written both in LB and the grams for square meter, depending on a measure system you have. And I would say 200 is the start and go more. Yeah, so for example, I usually buy 200 and 300 albums. And then I use 200 like for maybe practicing. And then I get 300 paper that's a bit more expensive. Then I say, okay, this one for like maybe the work I already wanna be like final and something. It makes paper more water resistant and it just don't go so curvy when you apply the water. No? One more little comment. In watercolors, there is also paper. Just give me a second, I'm gonna bring the album. So the paper I have now here is the paper from cellulose. So what's it made from? And you can also find albums that are cotton, and you find it says 100% cotton. The price goes at once 2-3 times more expensive than the cellulose. And if you're the watercolor person, you definitely need to try the cotton paper. But the way you work is different. It's really different the way you work with cellulose paper and cotton. The cotton paper, you need to wet all completely. You literally take the piece of paper and you sink it in your sink, like you leave it inside the water, and then you take it out and you put it, on a planchette, on a table, and you wait a bit and you work. Yeah, it's all soaked with water. The cellulose, we're gonna use this wet and wet technique, let's say for the dress, maybe for the background. But here, when you make the surface wet, you make it partially. So you don't make the whole paper wet. It's gonna make your life harder to paint. It's all gonna be curvy. You make it, for example, also just the places you need. For example, maybe we're gonna make the dress wet, and then we're gonna apply colors so they float, yeah, so we don't have like lines, and maybe this upper part of background. And we're gonna do now practice, and you're gonna see the things. So the plan would be that we now mix the color of the skin, and without making this part wet, we're just gonna apply the color of the skin. So you choose the lightest tone, and then you just put it all around the body where you see, including where are the shadows. The shadows we're gonna put on top. Yeah. So yeah, let's try to mix. Let's try to have the skin tone. So how, for example, you can make it? I would say it's kind of peach tone, and peachy tone is nicely done when you have pink and yellow. Yeah, so basically you can take some yellow color on your palette, yeah, and you can take peach. And again, you see the example, for example, so I have reddish, and I take my paper and I say, which of the reds? This one is more red, this one is more pinky. Then it's easier for me to understand the thing. Yeah. So you're gonna get something like, yeah, so check the proportions, maybe a bit more yellow rather than pink. But in the end, you're getting something like orangey color. And of course, then you're gonna dilute it a lot with water. Yeah? So just going to my cup of water and putting here yeah, and I'm gonna use just a very tiny bit, yeah, because I don't need much color. I need it to be very, very transparent and just the feeling. Yeah? And watercolor is also good to have some paper, yeah, on the side. The best, of course, the same paper you are painting on. Well, if not, you can have some other just paper, yeah, to try. Yeah, so if I put this is, for example, too dark, so I can say, and then I take the lightest one and I just go all around of my hand. Just, yeah, and this is important to make it pretty much light, because we're gonna make all other things around more dark, and then it will work. It will work that this part looks good and light. Yeah, so maybe like we can avoid the dress just to make it also different. Even if the dress is kind of also just white, still we're gonna maybe make it a bit more grayish or something. So I have put here the color I have just all along hands. And what very like popular technique of acrylics, taking off the paint. For this, you're gonna need a paper towel. And for example, here I look and I see, there is somewhere like light. So I'm trying to take off some paint, yeah? This is something needs to be done pretty much quickly. So you can't really, so actually I would have done it like one hand taking off. And so for example, here maybe a bit, yeah? So just making a little difference between the shadowy part of the skin, and maybe like here, just kind of coming back to the paper. Yeah? And, yeah. And also no worries, like once it's dry, we come back, we can improve it. Yeah. Like let's say this is the first move. And this technique, for example, doesn't work on this cotton paper that I showed you, because just because of the material, since it has like cotton lines, the paint gets more deep inside the paper. So it's this technique of taking out with clean brush and water almost not working there. But this something works on the cellulose paper. Okay. Another, what I would say, like the golden rule of watercolors, the less brush strokes, the better. So it's normal, we paint and we want kind of to correct the things, but it's always better just leave it dry and then you correct. Yeah, rather than going too much back and forth with the brush. So the paper starts feeling tired. So just consider this moment as well. Yeah. Another thing to consider is that when watercolors dry, they are maybe, I don't know, 40% less bright than once you put it. Yeah. So also what happens by putting colors, but then it's dry and it's like, whoa, where it's all gone. Yeah, so it's also something. Okay, let's not forget the black, actually something greenish more. So just the foot part that has a bit of white tone. Cool, we let it rest. How's it going, Flores? You managed to do the skin part?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay, now let's try this wet and wet technique. So you're taking clean brush, feel free also to take like wider. This is also something why in watercolors it's good to have two glasses with water. So one glass where you clean your brush and this water gets dirty, and the other where the water is always clean, because when you need, you know, to do something like what we're doing now. So I'm just putting a clean water just on the part of the skirt. Yeah, not even this part.
Go get some clean water. Let me go get some clean water.
Yeah, sure. Take your time. Yeah, I'm waiting.
Okay, so you're putting it on the skirt?
Exactly. So I'm just taking brush with clean water and putting clean water just on the skirt. So not even this part of the dress where the breasts are, just the skirt. And in this case, the water helps also, it works a bit like the border. So when are we going to be now putting and floating the colors here? They're going to stay actually inside the skirt. They're not going to flow on the background. Yes, it's also something useful to know. And also how you can check where you put water, where you haven't. You just put your head and look like a bit parallel to the paper. So look from the side. And then you see the parts that are shiny, it means the water is there. The parts that are not shiny, there is no water. So sometimes we put and we can't really say, okay, if I put there or not. And this is also a nice moment, because in watercolors, it's all about timing. Yeah, like if I started putting colors now, it will be too wet. But if I wait too much, the water will dry, it won't work. Yeah, so I usually do, I put this clean water and then I go straight to my colors to mix, to mix the paints I need. So what we need here, we need some yellow and we need some green. And they're all going to be mixing in between. So I'm putting separately some yellow, some green. If I want, I can maybe like also pre-mix a bit the yellow with green to have this a bit more, summer grass color. And what we're gonna do? We're gonna play. So again, for example, something you get from experience. For example, I see, my paper got also curvy and it creates some puddles. Yeah. And so then, in these puddles, you will have the paint kind of going in. So I took with my paper towel, I took a bit of excess of water where I see the puddle is, but generally I leave it as it is. And we just see, the light is on this side. So we just try to put, but we try to make the color float. Yeah, and this is why we put the water first. So we don't get these borders. And the color is kind of just setting the tone. If you feel that you put the color and it's still kind of the borders, you just go with the brush, take a bit more water and help, the borders or help the paint flow. Okay, I took here a bit, maybe too strong yellow, no problem. Paper towel is a big helper. I can take something out, if I feel it's maybe too strong and I really want to have it more, And here we start playing. So we just observe, okay, it has a bit yellowish part here. We have, okay, there maybe it's going to be a bit more darker green where the shadow are. And here, of course, especially where the green is going to be meeting the yellow, try. So the best is going to look when they're mixed, not mechanically with the brush, but they're mixed by itself by water flow. So just kind of let it play. And also it doesn't have to be perfect from the first go. You can definitely think about it now as a base color we are putting. And then when it's dry, we're gonna correct a bit more and this is why some people like watercolors, some don't. And this is about letting it flow. Because this is also actually like the way you get some unexpected cool things that you you couldn't really mix them, like or paint with brush, but just because like those happy accidents. So of course we also get often not so cool accidents, but this is something you kind of learn how to correct them. But watercolors are really all about this parts that of course we also try to do a bit shape of the dress. So just you move your brush a bit like in the direction to get a bit some lines. I got a bit too much on So cleaning in watercolors is possible, you just need to be quick. Yeah, like here, for example, my hand wasn't too dry yet. Got a bit green there. No worries, paper towel, yeah, if you're quick, it works. Yeah. Do the first layer of skirt. Yeah, so a bit yellowishy here. Some greenish. We're gonna improve the shadows and some parts, maybe like those thin lines. Yeah, so also the thing of patience and the thing of the timing, yeah, in watercolors. Cool. Yeah. And let the things rest. This is also important. Not to overdo. Think of, okay, I'm putting now like base tone. And once it's dry, you can go and correct. Okay, I suggest we do also a bit of background. And we're gonna do the background really like more abstract maybe than it is there. So more simplified, yeah? And then we're gonna come back and do a bit more detailed the ballerina. Here we're gonna have two parts of background. Yeah, we're gonna have this upper one where we also have these greenish yellow things. And the floor that is more calm color. And it also has the directions with diagonal towards there. Yeah? I would say we start with the upper part. Again, you can make it wet a bit. Yeah, also not too much, just again with the clean water. Also carefully, maybe not even going too close to your to the head and to the arm. Yeah, and just the upper one. So here, like, not the floor. So the upper one. And here, then you just fill in the colors. And here, why it's also good to have paper, for example, sticked to the cardboard and not to the table, because then I can have the option to move, yeah, to turn. So I can, for example, see some greenish spot here. Yeah, you can definitely take more paint. Then I can have yellowish spot, and then I can help them move. If I need to add a bit more water, and I help them float. So floating like this, we're gonna make the mix much more beautiful and natural, yeah, rather than brush. This is what I meant earlier, that and as it feels. So just creating some background colors. Yeah. And if they don't move, if you turn your page, they're not floating, means you just need a bit more water. Just drop some water with the brush, and then you can have it. Yeah. And you move it. So you play around, and you get pretty much nice background. So you see here, I don't go and I don't touch here with the brush. I let it Yeah, to be as it mixed, and it's gonna look much nicer and natural. Maybe something a bit more darker there. Yeah, this feel maybe too much. Again, if you have something too much, like too big thing floating, use a paper towel to take it off. Nice. Here in the here it's a bit darker, so we can also choose, if you want to follow the idea of the god, and we can also choose maybe some darker brown. And if you want, because it makes a bit the hand the accent, yeah, because so I took a bit more brown and go around, but of course be careful with dark colors. For example, also the black is something you try almost not to use. And for example, I always suggest to use Payne's gray color. For example, it's also here on my color list. So this is black and this is Payne's gray. When you need, you also, can make it look like black. But what's good, it's when it's getting mixed with other colors. It has a bit more this bluishy pigment inside, so it doesn't get so dirty. Yeah, and this is something that black color often does. And okay, I've created here pretty much like abstract background there, and we can go create a bit. So with the floor, so also one good trick to use and to know. So you notice it's actually a bit more lighter here under the skirt, and here already a bit more like grayish. Yeah. So we're also gonna use it, and like this is a famous trick. You put some like light yellow color around some things, and you leave it as a bit, it's this contour, and it gives this kind of sunshine feeling. Here it's even a bit more, I would say, even a bit more bluish or something, gives me the feeling. But anyway, like also I'm putting now light blue here around the skirt, here in this area. But still it's very transparent, it's almost white. And it will start playing once we're gonna have the parts around here a bit more grayish dark. So now it's almost invisible, but once I'm gonna have maybe also here I see, like it's always the more you start to see. Now I see, also where the hand, the leg is a bit, just a bit can have this very light blue. Cool. The color for the floor, not to lose my hand is going green again. This is something I've skipped. Let's see if I can. Yes, for example, now it was already dry, couldn't take off the green. I make it just wet again and just trying to take off with paper towel. There's something you should be careful, like once it connects, so The hand wasn't dry yet when I went with the green skirt. They connected, and they continue connecting as for the floor, we're gonna make one mix. We're gonna mix green and brown. This is something I usually use brown for mixing with blue or with green. In the moments like here, when I want to have it pale, yeah. So I don't want to have the green so bright. So this is then I'm gonna, and you take some green color. Yeah, it can be like some neutral green. Yeah, but to avoid having it so intense, to have it more calm, you just mix it with brown. Yeah, of course, add as much brown, like, so the color still looks green, but you're gonna notice it's gonna be like calmer. Yeah? And here, well, maybe it's, yeah, still too greenish, could be a bit more brown. Oh, not too much brown. Yeah, here you see I didn't try it on a separate piece of paper, could have. But here I'm taking like wider brush and just trying. So my objective here is to have all the surface like neutral in color. So that's why I'm always also using it pretty much enough of water. So it ends up more transparent. And then later I can add the details. So also generally with watercolors you work, you create lots of areas like this, like we have now. It's pretty much watery color. But then the magic appears is when you already take a thinner brush and less water and make those touch-ups, the details. Here we have. Not going for the shadow. Again, here maybe I want a bit more darker. So where we had this very light blue. All righty. Also, working in watercolors is also a bit more like jumping around. There's always need for some part to dry and some part, then you just go work somewhere else, you come back once it's dry. Yes, I'm leaving my floor now to dry, then later I'm gonna add the shadow, the cast shadow. I can come back to Ballerina, yeah, to the girl, because the dress should be also already a bit more dry. I'm gonna put a bit more, let's say, some just neutral grayish color for the dress. It's also often some color you just take from your leftovers here, like I had a bit of bluish, a bit of brown, because the most important, it's just the, yeah, some neutral color. Just to make it a bit more, so a bit more grayish, and I even went a bit more also here dark where the color of the shadow is always a very tricky thing. You can like the people who are professional watercolorists, they have their already mixes that they use to create specific shadow. Often, use blue with a bit of brown, then you're gonna have this calm blue. You can use this for the shadow. Let's do the head so it doesn't look so empty. So the reddish red hair girl. And again, it's important you leave a little bit of this bright reddish, this little spot where the light is coming in. And the rest very easily can be just darker, or even should be darker. This is also something you see a lot in other like paintings. That, for example, the whole thing can be dark and just a little spot you see, like a little part of the dress, you see the green color, and then you already perceive that the whole thing is green. But basically you have there just dark browns. Here also again, I'm just a bit rushing, and that's why like here my hair they float, just because, but sometimes it looks good. It's even like gives a bit of, this is what I call a bit of this happy touches, lucky touches, but, cool. Again, maybe also like not to leave the dress completely white. Again, it's for many things like those neutral colors. I'm using just some leftovers on my palette. The important thing to use it very light, so it's very watery, so it gives just the some feeling of color there. And here, for example, I'm coming already, I think, the third or even already first time for this shadow on the under the head. Because as we've spoken, the watercolors are drying fast. And when they dry, they lose the intensity. So I come back and I put again the, because I need the contrast. So now we can already also use a bit more dry brush, definitely. And you can go and play a bit more with some shadow lines, even with a bit like a contour line. So a bit creating some outlines, accents, where you see like the shadow under the dress here a bit. The eyes in the face, of course, tricky. Basically what you need, you just see the dark spots, and then I'm playing a bit with the paper towel. It's definitely like it's saying like it's a feeling. So here where the hand is, we see also shadow palette. For example, again, I didn't saw it first. Here it's also even a bit of the shape of the leg is visible inside the dress here. And but also putting a very, very transparent, just the feeling. And then definitely later you put a bit more dark with the dress ends. So still to have the feeling, okay, the dress ended, but this is just there as a skirt being a bit more transparent. You can definitely go now with, so now we're already playing with dry brush. And this is the moment like when already more magic appears, because you have all these base, nice colors, and now you can create some accents. Yeah. And for example, in the dress here, I'm creating these lines, but also if it feels they're like too brutal, you put them, and then you just put a wet brush and just blur them out a bit. Yeah. So they're there, but not that strong. Yeah? And here I took a bit of the ochre color. Yeah? Maybe you go back and take the bit of yellow again. Oh, too strong. And also in general, in painting, consider that you need to try to distinguish lines that are like hard edge and the lines that have soft edge. And you need to have both in your painting. Yeah, and this is what makes your painting interesting. Yeah? Exactly, that somewhere the lines are blurred, but somewhere we create this accent, we just like, as if it's with a pen. I'm definitely going here where the shadow is, making a bit more darker this part, because we want to emphasize where the shadows are. And again, I put some strokes, and then I quickly go clean my brush, just with clean watery brush. I make the things to blur, yeah, so they're not. Florence, how it's going?
I'm watching you. I'm just watching because there is a lag. There's a lag from when you put, so I can't see exactly what you're doing.
Okay, I get it, yeah. But we're gonna have the recording, so I'm gonna send it to you, then you can have it like to pause and but where did you stop? Where was the moment?
So this is where.
Okay, I see the dress is good. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna try it again when I have the recording.
Okay, good. Yeah, so let's just then finish together. For example, now I want to do the cast shadow, and here it's very beautifully blurred, and that's what I was telling you, to keep on noticing which lines are sharp and which lines are soft. So here we see no hard edge around the shadow, but sometimes shadows generally have more sharp line exactly where the object is touching the surface. So where the leg is touching the floor, there actually can make a bit harder line. It's always darker, the shadow there. And then the shadow goes out. It's in general, like you can observe it in your kitchen, you have the table, the legs always have sharper shadow and edge right at the bottom, and then the shadow goes out. So now I want to create this soft edge shadow. So all I do now, again, I take just a clean brush with water and make this part wet again. So just the part of the shadow. So then it helps me for the lines to be more soft. And then I took some, I took brown color. I'm not taking black. maybe a bit more wider brush. More here. And I start and I put, but I keep my paper towel next to me. So, but already here, already without doing nothing, I have it more blur, yeah, just because I've put the water prior. So this is called like wet and wet. Yeah, if something, I can always use the paper towel to, yeah, maybe here I'm gonna try to make it a bit more dark. Yeah, but again, probably this is the moment where you need to wait till it's dry and then come back and do some touch-ups. Yeah, so here maybe writing. And again, the less movements with brush, the better. Yeah, so maybe here also some lines of the floor. Yeah, and again, you see our background, now it's dry, it's a bit, again, it got lost a bit. Yeah, what we can do, we can make something a bit, again, more maybe a bit, again, more accent here, something brownish, something dark. Yeah, just to, yeah, when I was putting it was looking pretty much dark, but now it's dry, you see, it's kind of got lost. So this is something you need to count in and not like, this is what happens, like, oh, I put the color, where it's gone? It's gone. So you need to come back and be putting more and more color. Here I feel maybe I put also, so the shadow doesn't look, oh, where this black comes from. So the shadow doesn't look like too separate, too just kind of, you know, I'm gonna make here around also a bit more dark. So kind of unite, yeah, bring it together. So maybe like making this floor a bit more dark, so the shadow doesn't look too separate. All my bright colors here of the background also are gone. But this is the life. This is the life of the person. You have the watercolors. Maybe I could go now, put a bit more bravely some tones. But again, I can make it a bit more wet, make it flow. I can use again a bit more paper towel, you know, to control it. So watercolors is all about the use of water and the right timing. Yeah, and it's just something, yeah, you get with practice. You already then start feeling. Again, I come back here. I took a tiny brush. Maybe I do again some tiny detailing. Yeah, so this is what I call where the magic comes, is when you take the contours, yeah, and you make, yeah, and of course you don't make it everywhere. Yeah, you choose some areas. Again, my shadow of the face is gone. And I need to make it more. Yeah, and you get used to not to be scared of these bright parts, because you remember it's gonna be dry and gonna disappear. Nice. So maybe again, maybe a bit more, again, some accent line. There's also something a bit more dark and connecting here. Yeah, again, then I look if my skirt is lost a bit. Yeah, because the both colors are a bit too light. At first here I can go a bit more green, adding a bit more brighter. But it's also something about like just making here a bit darker the line. Yeah, I can bring this, maybe even just also taking the thinner, the contour line. Just playing here a bit. But again, not all skirt, maybe just a little part to make it more. Well, this was our experiment, watercolors, Edgar Degas. The sweet moment of taking the tape off, getting the, yeah. Anyway, painting people in general is the hard task because there you have a lot of pressure of proportions.
Yeah.
Painting people with watercolors even more because watercolors, they float. Yeah, and you need to get really those. So always when you make people and you plan to work with watercolors, spend more time on creating almost like perfect shape proportions. And then you go yeah, doing the colors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but in general, I think it was interesting.
It was very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I think I got a lot out of it.
Well, thank you, Flores. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I hope you learned some new things. And yeah, feel free to book again and also choose yourself what to do, and I'll be happy to assist.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Flores. Hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye. I'll
Bye-bye.
send you the recording. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye.